welcome to Take
Off
Your Pants
and Jacket.
Wait,
No. We did that wrong.
Wow, that's hilarious.
Yeah, we did.
We both.
Do we want to start over again?
I think this is even better. Welcome to Take Off Your Pod.
And cast it.
Bingo.
There we go.
Bingo, like the dog on the cover of the EP we're talking about
Today it's going to be a little different. We're not going to talk about Blink-182. We're going to try eating a couple different breeds of dog.
I considered having hot dogs ordered, so this could be the Dogs Eating Dogs episode.
What up, dog? Let's eat some dogs. Dog eat dog world. I guess that's where that comes from.
Yeah, I assume so.
But yeah, we're talking about the 2012 final EP to feature Tom DeLonge, Dogs Eating Dogs.
Yeah.
Before we get started, what do you think, Ken?
About this?
Yeah.
You want me to just get into it?
I mean, no, well, like, did you listen to this one when it came out?
Okay. My journey with Dogs Eating Dogs is I was underwhelmed with Neighborhoods, and I don't even think I was aware of this coming out at the time. Maybe I saw some post about it, but I was just so out. I was like uninterested.
Same.
And it was a couple years later, I was having some nostalgic Blink phase after California had come out, and I was like, I don't really like this, so I want to listen to old Blink. And then I clicked whatever it was, Apple Music at the time, saw the discography. I was like, oh, Dogs Eating Dogs? I don't think I've ever listened to this.
I listened to it once when it came out, but not like very hard. And it was like, okay, Blink is doing more of the like thing they did the last album. Good for them. I didn't think that was it. So it didn't, Blink is not an EP band. They're not a band that releases an EP. So I kind of assumed these songs would be on another release eventually.
Oh, okay. I think I was like, looking back on it, knowing Skiba had joined out and Tom had left, I was like, oh, so they couldn't even get it together enough to release a full album. They had to do an EP. This isn't even going to be worth listening to.
Yeah, I mean, Dogs Eating Dogs released December 18th, 2012. Independently, no record label at all.
That's cool.
They self-produced it with a guy named Chris Holmes. Could find nothing about him, and I didn't search very hard. But he doesn't even have a Wikipedia article.
Okay.
So his name's Chris Holmes, I guess. It is the sole recording of the band that is not on a label.
That's pretty punk rock.
Yeah. Basically, the way the story goes is they do the 10th anniversary tour for Self-Titled. It ends in August of 2012, and Tom is like ready to go. He's like, all right, let's get into the studio all together. Everyone agrees that the method of recording Neighborhoods was a failure.
Okay.
Tom admits his defeat. He says that he was wrong, that the method of recording, everyone doing it in different studios, was what kept that album down.
Okay.
You don't hear him admit fault very often in this whole story.
True.
So, end of the tour, he says, let's get together in a studio. Right after this, I have some ideas. Let's do it.
Cool.
And
because this sounds way more cohesive.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, Travis was saying like there's some songs that I love, but for the most part it was disconnected. It was like, you do this part in your studio and I'll do it and I'll play it at home and send it back to you. When we're not in the studio together, you don't have the opportunity to gel off each other. So they go into the studio together, and the story that's told until 2015, the initial story that's told is that they just like back to normal. They get into the studio and they bouncing ideas off each other. They're critiquing each other's parts for the best. They're making Blink-182 songs in unity. Mark Hoppus says it was great. Ideas falling everywhere. Lots of long hours spent on 5 new songs. The band is in a great place creatively. Having everyone in the same room at the same time makes all the difference.
Wow. He sort of sounds like the president of Blink-182.
Well, he's the business guy, I think. And I think that's pretty apparent. And it sounds like it was put together by a band rather than a group of musicians.
Absolutely.
And I love this so much. The reason I think this is one of my favorite things this band ever did is because it sounds like Blink-182 growing up. This is finally growing up. It's not guessing anymore. The opening track is When I Was Young. They're addressing the fact that they are an older band now. They're in their 40s. And I think that this album perfectly creates a hybrid of what Plus 44 and Angels and Airwaves were doing.
I couldn't agree more. I think this is a much better effort than Neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
So my journey with this is when I was going through that discography and discovered they released it, I gave it a try at the time, and I listened to it once all the way through, maybe twice, and I was just like, this is too little too late for me. This is years ago.
Yeah.
I guess it was just a quantity thing. I was just really disappointed by the EP aspect. It's like I couldn't see the forest for the trees.
It was easy to write off.
Yeah. And going through it these past few days, I was skeptical of... I was like, man, Ripley's claims that they fucking love this album and this EP and this is one of their best releases. This is overblown. So I play the first track and I'm like, okay, they sound all together.
The first track, When I Was Young, is one of Blink-182's best written songs, period.
Yeah.
On their entire discography.
So I was like, I remember thinking the first two songs were okay the last time I listened to it. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll 40% love this and then whatever. And as it kept going, I was just like, it was like the pie chart filled up because I want you to see me do this live. What just happened, Ripley?
You just liked all the songs on Spotify.
I think this is one of their best releases.
Yeah!
I could not believe I have not been able to stop listening to this. I have not gotten tired of any of the songs. I'm so happy about the sequencing of it. Like, I know it's just 5, but it's just like
19 minutes and 5 seconds.
Oh, it rules.
Yeah, it is quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Something that Blink-182 has always failed at.
True.
Every episode we've done, there's been one song where we're like, that could have been cut.
Right. That's the essence of a lot of classic punk rock albums.
Yeah.
It's like being so short and sweet.
So this was done in 11 days in the studio. Okay, an account of the process says that it was 11 days by one of the members, but it was written in a delusional fever dream. I don't believe anything in that 8-page Facebook post.
Okay. Are we putting a pin in that for later?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the story that's being told in 2012 is that this album is about Blink being unified.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, it does.
It doesn't sound like it. Like the Postal Service thing on the last album is even more apparent when you hear this.
Yeah,
because this is what they sound like as the adults from the Neighborhoods album, but like working together as Blink-182 from the earlier years.
And so this was critically acclaimed from the start.
Cool. Good.
Which is why I don't understand how I ignored it so much, you know? Like, Absolute Punk would said, well, the EP isn't the best material of the band's career. It shows a promising future that looked ever so bleak just a mere 3 years ago. If the band continues on this path, they are sure to please not only their fans, but also themselves as they age.
Perfect.
But right, you know what? And that's why this is so tragic to me, because this is it.
Yeah.
And to me, this shows potential for a whole new band.
Yeah, but at least where we're at in the narrative presently with Blink-182, I think this is a perfect encapsulation of like what the Mark Tom relationship means, what it's like this being the send-off of classic Blink-182 as we know it.
Yeah.
Is very appropriate.
Definitely. Let's get into Dogs Eating Dogs.
Okay.
Let's start with When I Was Young.
All right, we are 2 dogs drinking claws, hearing dogs eating dogs. Okay, here we go. Oh, wait, god damn it. I picked the wrong song. I'm so sorry. That sounds so that was All American Rejects. Swing Swing. I'm so sorry. Let's hear When I Was Young.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, they were people were comparing this to Arcade Fire, was one of the reviews I read.
That 2010 Arcade Fire album is huge. Did a lot for that indie.
Is that The Suburbs?
Yeah.
It's the last one I paid attention to.
Same here. But I hear a lot of that influence in like the music that followed, such as this.
That might have been 2010, right?
2010.
Yeah, and then they took a break for a while. That's a band that should have stayed broken up. Tom's voice is back.
Oh my god, he sounds so amazing.
And it doesn't even sound that pitch corrected on this song.
I never hear stuff like that, because if it sounds good, I'm just like, sweet.
Yeah. But Travis,
all of them are so present.
It sounds like Mark on bass. It sounds like Travis on drums. Mark in the background, you've been looking for him for so long.
Yes. Mark compliments Tom so well on this release. I think Mark really gives in and says, Tom, you dictate what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, they wrote 3 of these songs together, but Tom takes front and center through most of this.
Which songs didn't they write together?
Tom is the sole credit on When I Was Young and Pretty Little Girl.
Okay.
So this does sound Angels and Airwaves-y a little bit. It sounds big.
But just Mark's picking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't remember what the bassist of ABA is, but...
Right.
Like, Mark has an energy to his bass playing. Even if he's not writing the parts, you can tell it's Mark. Dude, the chorus going twice as long and getting bigger.
Yes.
Perfect songwriting right there.
It does sound so big. Yeah, Mark is like... the series has really given me an appreciation for him, and that, like, unlike like Matt Freeman or Chris from Anti-Flag, like, he's much more of a Mike Dirnt, just like such a solid player that makes the whole thing work together as a bassist, you know?
He's kind of like if Mike Dirnt was more into bass chords.
Totally.
I think that Mike Dirnt lives on the top 2 strings and Mark lives on the bottom 2.
Yeah, I hear that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like Mike is always trying to match Trey's bounciness, whereas like Mark and Travis are bringing different feels to the entire thing. Different personalities. But yeah, this song is so big and so good.
And the lyrics, just admitting when I was young, the world had felt, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it encapsulates the feeling of just like, I want things to be as easy as they were back then, and I'm really sad that they're not.
And it's the first one. Neighborhoods, I couldn't pin anything to being about this band's relationship.
Yeah, not really, no.
I kind of feel like when I was young, like, we got along a lot easier.
Yes.
Things were easier. Things were better. And now we're older and we have problems, and there are things that we can't look past.
I'm so glad to hear you say that, because I totally agree. I think this just like Self-Titled is a love letter to each other.
Yeah.
But whereas that was them working it out, I think this is more like the acceptance release.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah, just like lyrically, I don't think I cared about anything on Neighborhoods.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy the lyrics on this entire album.
Me too.
EP. This next song is what Plus 44 could have been. If, you know what I mean? That album had Tom on it.
Absolutely.
That's what it would have sounded like.
Yeah, and this is, if there were a single from this, there wasn't one, right? I think this is the one they played live the most. I looked that up.
Dogs Eating Dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what I would think of as the fan favorite, the single, and just in classic Blink fashion, this is the one that Mark is front and center on for the big anthemic single feeling one. And while Tom's on it a lot, this is the only one.
When I Was Young is still my favorite, but this song is amazing too.
Right. Oh, God damn it. Oh.
Wrong Dog Eating Dog.
Fuck. That is Weird Al doing the Talking Heads style parody. That is Dog Eat Dog. But what a punk rock album cover, eh?
Don't you have a Weird Al podcast out there somewhere? Is it still around?
It's not mine. I've guested on someone else's a few times. I'll plug it at the end. Fuck it.
Here we go.
All right, for real this time. Dogs Eating Dogs.
Ken!
You hear it though, right?
Yeah. But like, that's great. Fuck yeah. If they're ripping off The Clash.
Totally.
Blink has never ripped off The Clash.
Exactly. That's what I love it. I fucking love it.
This is actually the song now. We're there. Really driving punk rock. Travis on the toms. And when when Tom plays rhythm guitar, he only uses downstrokes. He's always been that way, and it's so fucking cool.
Yeah, I love this chugging, palm muting build up. You think that's the chorus, and then we get this.
Yeah, it's a double chorus. It's Head Like a Hole.
Dude, yeah, true.
Like, that's what, Head Like a Hole is one of the greatest songs ever written, because 10 people will tell you the chorus is a different part.
Yes.
And that's how this song feels. Totally.
He has really mastered his guitar tone. He's put so much care into it.
It sounds different on this song because it sounds like he's trying to mimic Plus 44's tone.
Dude, maybe it is. Maybe he's consciously trying to, like, because I think this release absolutely acknowledges Angels and Airwaves.
And this song really acknowledges Plus 44.
You're right. I hadn't considered that, but I think you're absolutely right.
They're all at the height of their ability to play their instruments.
Totally.
They're all masters at this point.
Yeah, Travis isn't covered in burns from head to toe anymore.
That was another reason that they felt like Neighborhoods wasn't good. Apparently, he was bleeding all over the kit in recording for that fucking
disgusting.
album. Yeah.
I mean, that's artistic and cool. I hope he got some good black and white pictures of that.
You notice he doesn't play with his shirt off anymore.
Oh, interesting.
You never saw him wearing a shirt pre-2009.
Well, okay. I watched a show from 2014 earlier, and I don't remember if he was wearing a shirt or not. Maybe it was.
Yeah.
That bridge was beautiful. And then going straight into the exact same build-up.
First, in a very sad set of eyes, to the bone, to the knees, to the factory line. I am numb to the shot. I have a crippling fear of heights, 'cause the fall sounds alive.
Lyrics are cool.
Yes.
They did a good job self-producing this.
Absolutely.
I feel like they really honored Jerry Finn. You know what I mean?
Totally.
I know they won't, but it is kind of inevitable that Tom plays with Blink-182 again.
Mm-hmm.
They will make music together.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a greatest hits tour.
Absolutely. They already did it once. We're 10 years after that already.
I highly doubt they'll ever do a album together.
Really?
I don't know.
I think that's the way to go.
Well, because this is fucking great. I know that if Tom came back in the band, I wouldn't see them live and they'd play When I Was Young. I fucking wish they would, though.
Why wouldn't you see them live?
Well, I would see them live.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying, if I saw them live, they're not going to play When I Was Young.
Yes.
In 2022. I really wish they would.
This is what you get for being a nerd who loves a band, though. You
it's
never
true.
get to see your favorite songs
We'll never
live.
see Father of All Songs played live.
No, I hate that.
Ever.
Right.
And that sucks.
But to connect two things you just said, I think Blink does a better job self-producing this than Green Day does self-producing Revolution Radio as their first self-produced thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They work with the same couple people most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, they've worked with Jerry Finn. I don't think Rob Cavallo's ever been involved.
Jerry Finn never produced a Green Day album.
He was the engineer.
Okay. I know he produced a couple songs in the mid-90s. He did JAR because he produced all of the Angus soundtrack.
I've never seen Angus.
I don't. It's a football movie
Oh, I thought it
with
I thought
James
it was like,
Van Der Beek.
No, you're thinking of something else.
Okay.
I think it's about a loser fat kid in school.
Played by James Van Der Beek in a fat suit.
Sure.
I think so, right?
I don't know enough.
Okay.
Maybe Tom will write a trilogy about it so we can really
There we go.
dig into that. But yeah, these lyrics are just incredible, and I think we could go through line by line and do all the meta reading of everything, but the only one that really matters to me that sums up this entire release and their self-awareness and acceptance is Mark says, we need to find some middle ground. It's always sex or suicide. Because all their songs are about, it's either masturbation or Adam's song, you know?
Yeah.
Either about fucking hating your life and wanting to kill yourself, or silly, let's not acknowledge anything serious.
I never looked at the lyrics, but I'm the last and the first in a very sad set of eyes. Mm-hmm. Oof. And dog eat dog world, dogs eating dogs, just they're being consumed by themselves. Like their own problems are what is destroying this band.
Yeah, it's a punk rock Ouroboros.
Yeah. I feel this way about this song, but I didn't realize that 7 million people feel this way about this song. It's a little bit of a skipper.
Sure.
It's fine. It takes too long to get to where it wants to go.
I like it. We're starting it.
But the plays, the album pretty much all has about 11 million listens. And then this song is sitting just shy of 4 million listens. Which is a huge dip.
It's on an EP that's only being listened to by people who are fans of the band already.
Well, I think the reason Pretty Little Girl has a lot more, because I think Yellow Wolf is a bigger name than them now.
Mm-hmm. Definitely that's the Yellow Wolf squad going back and seeing what he did there. I think this is a hilarious way to open the song. First of all, it's like your joke about the song Boring on Dude Ranch. It's just like they call it Disaster. Like, and then it doesn't perform well. But it opens up starting vaguely Angels and Airwavesy, and then Mark starts saying, I mean, come on. It's all right there.
I mean, have you listened to... So, the Love album is what most recently came out by Blink-182, or by Angels and Airwaves here. Love is what came out in 2011, the movie, the album... And it's a very Pink Floyd-esque Angels and Airwaves album.
Cool. I like that.
I mean, it was meant to be like sonically for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels more like an artscape music wall of sound thing. And these songs all sound like the punk rock Angels and Airwaves songs that we get on I Empire and We Don't Need to Whisper.
Yeah.
So they sound like the songs that he was writing for Angels and Airwaves that...
Gotcha.
It's like, these would actually work better for Blink.
Because, yeah, throughout all of this, he is continuously working with Angels and Airwaves.
Yeah.
There's like 3 releases up to this point.
A big issue with the, reunion that we'll get to in a couple minutes. He wanted the ability to work with Angels and Airwaves. And there were contracts that were put in front of him that said Angels and Airwaves cannot release an album within 2 years of a Blink-182 album.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Not at all.
Because if they... I mean, it's up to speculation, but if they shit these out in 11 days, then you can have a side project on your time off.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Blink-182 can be the side project at this point.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Oh, to go back to what we're saying, if they got back together tomorrow, I'd want them to take the time and work on an album before a tour. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like a real statement to come back with?
I'd like them to use some of the To the Stars songs, some of Tom's demos. They won't, but that would be cool.
You speak of something I didn't know about till hours ago.
Yeah! This song's cool.
Yeah, I really like this song.
It's just... Mark adds so much to Tom's voice.
Mm-hmm.
You need their voices together Otherwise, they don't work.
Right, because the previous two songs prove your point about how Mark being integrated into the Angels and Airwaves sound improves it so much, and then you don't get him in Disaster other than him saying Disaster at the beginning.
He's doing backing vocals in the choruses.
Oh, okay.
Just adding that deeper voice to it.
Okay.
Hated this song at first. I kind of love it now.
Boxing Day we're talking about?
Originally titled The Day After Christmas, it was the first song released to the public in the beginning of December. So this album was dropped on a surprise.
Oh, cool.
Like, we're at the point in technology and music where, like, yeah, they just put it on the internet.
That rules. And no hype around it.
Well, the hype was a couple weeks earlier they released Boxing Day.
Oh.
As like, hey, we're working on shit.
So this was like done before the rest of it, I guess.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah. I remember the first time I heard this, I was like, okay, the first 3 songs are decent. And then they're only giving me 5 songs and one of them's a slow one. Screw this. But now I feel differently.
Well, 2002 Blink couldn't make this song.
Right.
This is a song by a more mature band.
Speaking of 2002, it reminds me of Boxcar Racer.
Yeah.
But even hearing Mark's bass acoustic there sounds so much better than some of that stuff without him.
Let's get started. The faint and broken hearted. Hold it up, I've got something I cannot hide. The worst painkiller, the all-in filler. Apart and departed. Look in my eye. It's sad how far you ran. I'll search this land up through the clouds, then back here. We could reignite like fireflies. Like
Mark coming in on the line, we could reignite like fireflies.
Yeah.
after Christmas, swept beneath the wave of your goodbye. You left me on the day after Christmas. There's nothing left to say, and so good night. I will follow the trail to tomorrow with my loneliness, with sorrow, all through the night. The sons and daughters, mothers and their fathers, cross the bridges and the waters, their clues left behind. Sad how far you ran. I'll search this land up through the clouds, then back here. We could reignite like fireflies. Like
Their harmonies sound great here.
all hours.
And this song originally had no drum machines or anything, which I'd love to hear.
Is this a drum machine we're hearing?
Yeah, so it was just recorded with Tom and Mark.
Oh, okay, because I was literally thinking like, wow, Travis is so subdued here.
Yeah, it's programmed drums, but Travis programmed them.
Okay, yeah.
No less talented, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I was really one of those assholes about like program drums a long time ago, and then I like watched someone make a beat with them. And like, okay, fair. And Travis has been doing this for years with hip hop artists at this point.
Totally, right.
So this was just a cute little acoustic song that Mark and Tom put together, and Travis was like, hey, can I like take a whack at producing this? Fucking nails it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So this was like the song that was primarily produced by Travis, in spite of having very little to do with the writing of it.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Once again, a less mature band couldn't do something like that.
Good night.
Lyrically, I mean, that's just another one of those things where it's like it's about the sadness after you've opened all your presents. Like it harkens back to when I was young in a way. It's like they've already had the good times, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's just dealing with real life after that. And when you're in your 30s and 40s, life starts to feel real.
Yeah.
You start to have arguments with people and get cancer and shit.
This is over too soon.
It is. We're moving right into Pretty Little Girl.
Another one of Blink-182's best songs.
I think so too. I think this feels like it could be in Euphoria or something. Like this, it's just beautiful. And it captures a feeling that are what the lyrics are about. Of young love and getting caught up in stuff and a feeling.
It sounds the most like Angels and Airwaves.
Totally.
But you've got Travis and Mark doing it.
Yeah. This is all we want.
This is all I want. Yeah. It's perfect.
What you gonna do? Daydream near a stream with the winter bites.
Those synths are so good. I always wonder who's doing them.
Tom.
Cool.
It is Tom. Yeah. Because he's working on at the same time as this, the soundtrack to The Poet Anderson, The Dreamwalker. We'll get there.
Okay.
But this is around when Tom gets really good at synths.
Cool.
So it makes sense that would be him on it.
It does make a lot of sense.
This pre-chorus is... It sounds like something, but I can't figure out what.
Birds as they flew from the coop of my back, they would climb just as I came in blue. Just said, if you break my heart, then I'll
The way
The
that
harmonies.
you don't expect it to go into that faster drum beat,
Yeah.
and it works so well.
wheel about time. We'll be here to try it again.
That sounds like everything's magic.
Yeah.
It just hit me.
That's what it is, yeah. That's what I was trying to think of. Tom's just real into delay pedals here.
I like the song earlier where you just hear him turn on the flanger and not do anything, but they have the volume all the way up, so it's just the wow wow.
I was in a band that would just do shit like that. Like, I played guitar, but I mostly just played the pedal board.
I used to be pretty judgmental about that shit.
Yeah, justifiably.
But no, now I get it. It's the same thing with the fucking drum machine you're talking about. I encourage everyone to do the work to find a line-by-line meta read, but you're not going to get better than the Yellow Wolf verse. I think he brings someone on who can say the things that this album's about that they couldn't say to each other.
So my roommates are way more into hip-hop than I am.
Uh-huh.
And I just like, do y'all know who this dude is? Let's give him time. Let's do it. There's no doubt that this was Travis's idea, right?
Totally, right?
Second, don't leave me here with this feeling like I'm the one for regretting, like I never did good for response, like I never did pull out that weapon and stick that knife in my back. Was I supposed to accept it when your words are like more than just sticks and stones, kind of like a bullet? I don't tip that lodged in my bones and I can't just swallow it. My pride is more than all that I own, so I gotta give it away. And some of the times I'm all the way wrong, but can't you see past me and see my fucked up home that made me the meanest? The devil is just singing along to the song I write, to the alone at night, and I hang up the phone and bite my tongue, cause I know that me and you is just only right. The one.
It's a cry from the past. We have been through a lot. Every year has been great, and if you have been tough, then your kids they will reach for the stars at the bottom. We'll sit and relax as we're cheering them on.
But I'd never heard of Yellow Wolf other than this, and my roommate said he's a pretty good rapper. But if Blink had continued, shit like that could happen all the time, and I'd be all for it.
Totally.
That was great.
I think that verse fucking rules.
Yeah, it adds to the song a lot.
Uh-huh. And it comes out of nowhere. Again, I turned my nose up at it the first time I heard it. The first time I went through this, I was like, and you're ending this with a rapper, and it didn't even say featured on the thing. You didn't warn me to expect this? Oh, man. The opening lyric is he says 19, and yeah, it's all framed around loving someone or being interested in someone.
But it's the 19th year of that band.
It's been 19 years since their first release.
Whoa.
This album's a love letter to them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The closing track is harkening back to the first release of their career.
Yeah. So that's Dogs Eating Dogs.
I think
man.
it's fantastic. This is the biggest surprise yet of this series to me.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I'm glad.
Yeah.
It's the last surprise. Well, I don't know. I dropped a bomb on you earlier today.
Right. No, yeah, there's been surprises this all the way.
So that happens, and they go on tour to support this EP. They tour for, I think, 6 months in 2013, but they do a big international tour in 2014.
It's a 20th anniversary tour.
It's rough. So this is kind of the first time I noticed that there's something up with Blink-182.
Okay.
Is I see a friend post on Instagram a live video where they saw Blink-182, and Tom is in trouble. So I just pulled up a random video of 2014, Blink playing All the Small Things. I imagine it'll prove my point. Let's find out.
Okay.
All the small things take care, it brings melting one live. You're right, best friend. Always, I know you'll be at my show, watching, waiting, master painting. Say it ain't so.
So Tom's having a little trouble with those lyrics and that voice. So like I said, there were clauses in Blink contracts that have been passed around 2013, 2014 that wouldn't allow Tom to release any Angels and Airwaves music. At first it was 18 months. Second contract was a year. The third and final contract that Tom said no to was 6 months. That was too much for him. And the reason why, and I brought some like real material with me.
Okay.
Like physical things.
Yeah, you got it. You pulled out a thick book.
Yeah, so this was holding up my window in my old apartment for a couple of months.
That's why it's familiar.
Yeah. Secret Machines, Part 1, Chasing Shadows by Tom DeLonge. This is the first book that he publishes.
Yeah. You open up the flap to read what it's about, and the first 6 words are the first novel in our trilogy. Sets up important. I mean, it's more ridiculous the more you keep reading. The first novel in our trilogy sets up important events that had their genesis as far back as World War II and continue into the present day. The events, locations, and moments of wonder here are all true. I mean, every passing word of that is crazier.
Yeah, so what really gets me, and at this point, I'm all in on Tom DeLonge. I think he really can't do any wrong. I know he's insane.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm for it. Because we start around 2012, 2013. Tom's alien research becomes a little bit more known to us. So what really gets me about this book is next to the title, it says, a novel based on actual events.
Okay.
And then next to his name, it says, from the imagination of. So it's based on actual events, but I also made it up in my brain.
I think it's a prophecy.
I don't know, man. So I read most of this in 2014. I bought it when it first came out. I meant to go to a book signing, but I didn't make it. But this was the first one that I got. The second one that I got, because I'm like, do you know what? Tom's writing books, and it's so clear right here that Tom DeLonge did not write this. From the imagination of Tom DeLonge with New York Times bestselling author A.J. Hartley. This thing is coherent.
Oh,
so
yeah?
there's no way that it came from Tom DeLonge.
That's so funny. I just assumed he did a bunch of manic scrawlings and someone's...
I mean, it's fucking wackadoo bullshit. Like, I mean, I can't remember what it's about. Aliens, generals in the army. honestly, my brain turns off the minute I like hear about the military. Just don't want.
He does have a weird interest in the military.
Yeah, and a lot of his dudes are like ex-CIA, ex-military. But Tom starts To the Stars Media in 2014. To the Stars Media will be a multimedia, music, television, comic books, VR shit in the metaverse in the future, because everything's big. Everything's going to be the greatest, biggest thing you've ever heard of.
He's our punk rock Kanye.
Yeah. Oh, good. That's good. That's really good.
In some ways.
Can we pull up one more thing?
Yeah. Oh, I clicked around in this show earlier. This one we listened to all the small things from. I had a good time. I don't know. He seems like he's having fun.
He's having fun, but he is clearly on some drugs.
Yeah.
And phoning it in a little bit.
Yeah.
So the first thing in Tom's multimedia, whatever you want to call it, is the Poet Anderson, the Dreamwalker. And in 2014, the first issue of the comic book is released, followed by a trailer. And over the course of the year, we will get 6 issues of a comic book. We will get a full-length novel and a short film about this character, Poet Anderson. And I read and watched it all back then. Kind of remember it, but it's a young adult story about astral projection.
Cool.
Do you know?
Astral projections when you sleep, but you can control. You're aware that you're asleep, so in your dreams you can go and do other things.
Yeah. So the whole thing is like he figures like this guy, dude, Poet Anderson, who looks like fucking boxcar racer Tom DeLonge in a like fedora, can astral project. He can go to sleep and do shit. But if I remember correctly, nothing he does couldn't be done when you're awake.
He just would rather be sleeping,
I guess. And the big bad villain is Rem, is the name of the villain, and they don't call it REM, Rapid Eye Movement. His name is Rem.
Okay.
Because it's sleep. He's sleeping.
Sure.
I think it'd be fun to get a live reaction to you watching the official trailer.
I can't wait.
For the Poet Anderson.
I'm excited.
The Dreamwalker.
What a hilarious name, the Poet Anderson.
Right?
Toronto International Short Film Festival official selection.
Poet Anderson.
It's got to be a good train scene.
Come inside.
Animation's cool.
Who are you?
I'm your Dreamwalker.
From the imagination of Tom DeLonge.
But my night terror is always just below the surface, even when I'm awake.
Oh shit, this
closer.
is Slender Man nightmare
I
shit.
wish I could see what you see.
Okay, so I guess he's like conjuring up guns and shit.
Get on.
This looks so much cooler than I would have imagined.
It had a big budget, dude.
This came out?
Yeah.
Your place in your dreams for me.
I mean, honestly, I'm in.
Yeah, it's pretty okay. It is fun.
Ends with the To the Stars logo.
It's enjoyable, that's for sure.
You watched this movie.
It's not a whole movie. It's like half an hour long. It's like a short,
It's just a short film.
Yeah.
Oh, so we like saw the whole thing.
I know it's about half an hour long.
Okay.
But the novel, I read the whole novel. That one I actually finished.
Okay.
And enjoyed. And it's like in the comic books, the comic books were like limited run, and I think it has since been published as a graphic novel.
Okay.
But I couldn't get my hands on the comics. Critics are confused.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what to say about Tom DeLonge creating a young adult fantasy franchise. So the reviews are kind of mixed, but my favorite one, and the one I found to be most accurate, called it a lazy combination of The Matrix and Harry Potter.
Okay.
Would you get that vibe?
Absolutely, I do. That's disappointing. I mean, it had some ideas in it. He's an idea guy for sure.
Yeah. So they partner with a big production studio to bring Poet Anderson to the big screen, and there is going to be a live action movie. They hope that the budget can be $100 million.
Of course he does. Tom has $100 million.
I don't think so.
Of course he does.
That's a lot of money. I think he's a millionaire, but I don't think he's quite that much of a millionaire.
I bet he does.
You could bet, but I don't know. I think he spends more of his money on alien research than you think.
Okay, true. Okay, yeah. I guess I meant he's made a lot of money to fund things, but you're saying he's put that elsewhere.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
So at the same time as To the Stars Media is making its debut, Tom is going on some podcasts. He's going on the radio. He's starting websites. He is beginning to talk about UFOs a little bit more.
Love it.
He's getting a little weird. He's getting into aliens. And To the Stars changes its names from To the Stars to To the Stars Media to the Stars Research Facility or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And it becomes apparent that he's talking about these big things he's doing with the CIA to blow the lid off the unidentified flying object.
It's always framed that way. We're blowing the lid off of it.
Yeah.
We're pulling the rug out from under your feet.
Yeah.
We're shining a light on things.
And he does. Like, he is a big name in ufology.
Sure.
Which is
could he
the
not
term.
be?
Ufology.
That makes perfect
is the
sense.
term. Pronounced ufology. So I tried to spend today doing a little more research on... I just spilled some White Claw on this fucking book, but that's okay. I tried to do some more research on To the Stars, but I was working all day, and I tried to listen to some podcasts about it, and conspiracy theory podcasts are a hit or miss.
Uh-huh.
And the first one I pulled up was a podcast where they discussed conspiracy theories. And it was 2 hours about To the Stars.
And
well, I get about 3 minutes into these fucking bros yelling about pussy when they finally go, today we're going to talk about To the Stars Media. But first thing I want to do is apologize for last week's episode. I know that I said the Proud Boys aren't that bad. We recorded this episode a month before January 6th, so I didn't know.
the first thing you hear.
And so I turned it off and did not listen to that podcast. I imagine their takes weren't the best.
See, I mean, that's why Tom is like, I don't know. What do we think? I mean, he must have okay politics. I don't know. We don't know.
He was I'm with her kind of guy. Mm-hmm. We found Tom in Hillary's emails, which I think would be appropriate for next episode.
Okay. Oh, Phil told us that he was excited by John Kerry's campaign. That's right.
Yeah. See, he's one of those guys. This is what's happening. We've got the Poet Anderson. We've got Tom committing to being a scientist without a high school diploma. I will say, before I say any of this, I also dropped out of high school. But Tom DeLonge was kicked out of high school.
Pretty cool.
I think he has a GED, but he never went to college. Basically a 10th grade education. He works with former CIA and military people, and he is literally responsible for the release of videos of UFOs.
Cool.
To this, like, those videos that were released 2 years ago, Trump released them.
Right.
Which I'm sad because I did think that Trump was going to be the president that like blew the lid off aliens because he can't keep a fucking secret.
Right. He even disappointed us in those ways.
Yeah.
Disappointed us in every possible way. I thought at least he was going to tell us that we didn't really land on the moon.
So Tom's doing all this stuff. 2015 rolls around and Blink-182 plans to enter the studio to record their 7th studio album. It was going to be released at the end of 2015, but there were a lot of delays attributed to Tom DeLonge. And the contract comes back that he needs to take a break from Angels and Airwaves to do at least a year of recording, promotion, and touring for Blink-182.
I'm surprised there wasn't an additional clause that was like, and you can only see your family every 6 months as well. Because that's what split us up last time.
I don't think that's too ridiculous.
No, it's not. I mean, it's unnecessary.
It is unnecessary. I think they could have cut it, and I think that.
But who's in charge of that? That's got to be Mark and Travis.
It's Mark. It's Mark has this idea that we need a producer and we need a record label. Dogs Eating Dogs did not sell. Because music doesn't sell anymore.
Right.
That's the way it is.
And meanwhile, Tom is figuring out how to make a whole rigmarole of producing shit without the fat cats in the studio system.
Yeah.
He's his own fat cat now.
That's right. So he is doing his own thing. He's making art. It may be crazy.
He's more of a Cheshire cat. Go ahead.
But it's art. And they want him to commit to Blink-182. They want a record label involved, and the only way a record label is going to be involved is if Tom DeLonge agrees to
consistency
commit to Blink-182.
Gotcha. So it's just a matter of consistency. I guess that's kind of legit because he's gone off and done his own things when nobody expected it before, and they got a product to uphold.
So it is December 30th, 2015, and Mark Hoppus says, "We were all set to play this festival and record a new album, and Tom kept putting it off without reason. A week before we were scheduled to go into the studio, we get an email from his manager explaining that he didn't want to participate in any Blink-182 projects indefinitely, but would rather work with his other non-musical endeavors. I just wish that Tom does whatever makes him happy and stops holding Blink-182 back."
Damn.
From what we all agree that we're going to do. Play shows, record music, continue this legacy, and have a good time doing it. And in January of 2015, we get the announcement that Tom DeLonge has been fired from Blink-182. Fired.
It was
not quit.
Press release.
Press release. The press release says that Tom DeLonge is fired from Blink-182.
That's so strange.
The official press release I couldn't find like word for word, but you find plenty of articles about it. And kicked out and fired.
Oh yeah.
Difference.
I guess I knew that, but somehow still the narrative feels that like he left. But I guess that's just because of what happened before.
So to me, when I hear kicked out, I think friends decided that this guy's an asshole and they want to stop working with him.
Okay.
When I hear fired, I hear a business decided that you were holding the business back and you are let go from that business.
And Mark Hoppus is the face of that business.
And it blows up. They're like, we have a festival booked. Blink-182 has a show to play in 4 months, and Tom DeLonge is out of the band. We have someone to replace him.
Oh, yeah. I vaguely remember this now.
And so everyone's wondering who the fuck.
I thought it was all big talk. I thought they were trying to get him to come back somehow.
Yeah, it seemed like some sort of public fucking bullshit. And so an interview a couple days later, Mark Hoppus says this: "I'll walk you through the past 2 years of Blink-182's history. For the past 2 years, we've been working with a bunch of different labels to try and get a record deal because the three of us collectively decided if we want to make a record, we need a label. A few months ago, Travis had this festival that he is the co-owner of, and he asked Tom and I if we were able to play, and we said no problem. At the end of December, we were finalizing our record deal, and on Christmas Eve, all three of us signed the deal. We had been talking about where we wanted to record, what producers we wanted to use, what day day we wanted to start all this through email. I don't think any of us had spoken to Tom in person in months, but everything's been moving positively. We booked January 5th to go to the studio. On December 30th, we get an email from Tom's manager saying that he has no interest in recording and that he wants to do other non-musical stuff and that he's out indefinitely. A flurry of emails going back and forth, clarification about the recording, about the show. His manager sends an email saying, Tom, is out. Direct quote. This is the exact same email we got back in 2004.
Jesus.
Oof.
That's heavy.
Yeah, they're pissed.
Yeah.
And they are openly pissed. They're just being fucking fuck you, Tom, in the press.
Yeah.
And this is all done on social media.
Right. They made me mad at him. I wasn't mad at him.
And like a couple hours later, Tom posts on Twitter basically just like, this is news to me the way it's news to you. I'll tell you more soon. And Tom is under the impression that he was still in the band until these articles come out.
But he had sent an email saying he was out for a little while.
His manager sent that email.
Oh.
And so I don't know what to believe about any of this
Well, and
stuff.
previously, these guys have used their managers to talk to each other through each other.
Which sounds fucking dumb, dude.
It sure does. Could you imagine needing a representative to intermediate between you and your friends?
Yes.
Sure.
Nah. Early on in Alex Jonestown Massacre, Patty and I met with a therapist.
Huh.
Yeah, I get it, but like fucking business with your friends, gross.
Uh-huh.
But like I've had therapy things with bandmates.
Sure, yeah.
To try and like get a hang on like we both want this to succeed, but we have personal problems.
Yeah.
But
I guess
businesses,
I just meant the official business sense. Yeah. It would help them a lot if they got that kind of intermediary.
Yeah,
You know?
they need therapy. That's what it is. They don't need business.
I want to see they're some kind of monster.
Ooh, that would have been good. Well, there was the Blink-umentary, which I don't think we talked about on the last episode, but it was a scrap documentary that started when they got back together.
Yeah, they have a lot of footage from them making Neighborhoods or
And
something.
I'm sure that there's a reason it was scrapped.
I'm sure you put all those scenes together and it just, you can see it's dudes hanging out in other places.
Yeah.
And it looks like a bad narrative.
So finally, a couple weeks pass, and Tom DeLonge breaks his silence in a, like, 60,000 word, completely unhinged Facebook post.
Ooh.
Going back to 1994, airing out dirty laundry, just being depressed, and like, I didn't quit Blink-182. I didn't know about this till it was in the press.
Wow. I didn't know about this.
So he gets increasingly angry over this long post. And about 3/4 of the way down, he starts talking about dogs eating dogs. And he says, then, the EP was the test. Months later, we were recording those songs. I was in the studio for 2 months, and then they came in for 11 days. I didn't mind leading the charge, but we had all agreed to give 100%. And this time, no baggage. Despite that, we still somehow managed to self-sabotage. At one point, squabbling in politics forced me to pull the EP down at a time when 60,000 fans were trying to purchase it, and that blew my mind. I'd been trying so hard, but that moment ultimately broke my spirit. And then I realized this band couldn't lose the years of ill will.
Fuck.
So Tom is now saying that dogs eating dogs was even a nightmare.
Whoa.
And I don't know what he's talking about with the forced to pull the EP down when 60,000 fans were trying to purchase it.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's referring to, but he's basically saying that Mark and Travis didn't put their all into that record.
I mean, I disagree.
I do too. I remember asking one of them on the phone, did you really try your best like we all agreed to? And he was silent. Are they at fault? Am I? Of course, I'm nuts. But there's the three of us. We're all accountable. At the end of the day, we're always dysfunctional, which is why we haven't talked in months. But we never did. In the 8 years we've been together, it has always been that way. It gets rough here.
I mean, he's right. It takes two to tango.
Also, I didn't copy this down, but in this is when he says, I've been writing demos for a new Blink-182 album. I have 8 songs ready to go for a new Blink-182 album. I know that Mark had 3 or 4. I was ready to record. And you know what? I'm going to release them. And so he gets Billy Wackerman, something Wackerman. What's the guy's name? Brooks Wackerman.
Yes.
Brooks Wackerman, the guy who filled in Australia for Travis Barker. He calls him up, says, hey, lay down drums for these 8 songs that are already finished. Just put the drums underneath him. And that's To the Stars, Odds and Ends by Tom DeLonge. Is released in April of 2015, the same month that Blink-182 returns. And they return at a music festival with Matt Skiba, a man that we have talked about a lot on this podcast already.
But at the time, Ken was like, who?
Yeah, Matt Skiba was the guitarist and one of the singers, the worst singer in Alkaline Trio. I like Dan's songs better. So they perform at a festival for the first time with Matt Skiba, who, you know what? When I first heard that, being an Alkaline Trio fan, it made sense.
Interesting.
Honestly, if anyone's going to replace Tom DeLonge, he's got the voice to do it. I mean, we heard in Boxcar Racer, Tom say that Matt Skiba's vocals influenced Boxcar Racer.
Right.
They were an influence this whole time.
He even tried to win over Skiba's wife.
Yeah, but here we go. So this is 2015, and this is the first time Blink-182 is back. You almost don't even need him there.
Right. Because
The crowd's got it. He's having fun.
He is having fun.
And he's got the confidence. He's doing it.
It is so interesting that we compared it between the two with this song.
I know.
Good
You're
call.
welcome. And I like that this video is just focused on him.
Yeah. This is so strange. Because what I don't understand is if you're a huge fan, like I consider myself, this is so soon after all of that hubbub that you just told me about.
It's 2 months later.
And everyone's
This is
singing
March
along,
23rd.
Everyone's singing along happily.
So yeah, this is the first show. I think this is like a secret club show before the festival.
Okay.
But this is Matt's debut with
And
Blink-182.
everyone's excited.
Because Blink's back.
I don't see it that way. I don't know. I don't know a lot about this era. I'm ready to be wrong about any of this.
I was hyped. I remember being hyped. I remember understanding the frustration with Tom DeLonge, and I wanted more Blink-182. And I like Matt Skiba.
It's just interesting with how much you defended Tom through this whole pod that your mindset at the time was like, I'll get more Blink even if it's not with Tom.
Because I still got Angels and Airwaves, bro.
Uh-huh.
Like, Angels and Airwaves' most recent album, Life Forms, is one of Tom DeLonge's best albums.
That's
He's still
awesome.
making cool shit.
Uh-huh.
I want him back in Blink-182 in the long run, but Tom's making cool shit. This is the direction Blink's going to go in. In 2015, I'm stoked about that. Where I feel in 2022 about current Blink-182, differently.
Uh-huh.
But at 2015, I'm ready for it. I'm stoked.
All right.
And that is where we will leave it until our next episode. Patrick Miller will be joining us again for California.
Hell yeah. So are we going to do To the Stars on the Angels and Airwaves episode?
I don't know. What do you want? Do you want to do like another mini episode about To the Stars?
We could do a shorty.
Yeah, you want to do that like next week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do a short episode about To the Stars. I think you'll really like it.
I am so intrigued, especially because I have no preconceived notions about it.
Give it a couple days.
Okay, so we'll do that, and then
We're going to talk about California.
which I have very little association with. I know one song from it very, very well.
I mean, I've said this a couple times, but like There is a whole bunch of Blink-182 fans right now who only know Matt Skiba Blink-182.
Insane.
It's insane.
I guess I should start listening to some Alkaline Trio, too.
Yes.
Just to understand the context.
Okay, I'll give you homework.
Okay.
Some Alkaline Trio, listen to like a couple songs by Goldfinger.
Okay.
Because the songwriter and singer of Goldfinger writes all the songs on California and produces them.
Okay, cool.
And listen to some Fall Out Boy, because John Feldman and Patrick Stump, John Feldman, the singer of Goldfinger, and Patrick Stump, the singer of Fall Out Boy, wrote all of California.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I won't be listening to any Fall Out Boy. I get
That's
it.
fine. You get it. Yeah. That's it. This was a fun little episode. Less music than usual, but, I feel like that part of the story needed to be told.
Yeah, definitely. We are connoisseurs of the Blink-182 context, and it needed to all be laid out as such.
Don't forget Tom DeLonge, because I think he'll still show up throughout these next couple episodes. Canonically, there's really only 2 Blink albums left.
So that leaves us with 4 episodes left to do.
Yeah.
All right. And whatever is in the future after that, we'll see if it's written in the stars. We'll get Tom to lead us there.
We should watch Love, too.
We'll do that for the Angels and Airwaves episode.
Right on. That's it, everyone. Thanks for listening. I don't have anything new to plug, Ken.
Okay, I'll plug my friends Dakota Rimmer and Garrett Hale. They do Me Talking Weird Al to You, the Weird Al podcast I've appeared on a couple times. I actually was in the room with them while they interviewed Weird Al and briefly engaged during that interview. And my Twitter, follow me on Twitter at KenInfluencer. That's Ken with 2 N's. You can find such gems as the tweet I tweeted yesterday that nobody liked. But I thought it was very funny. What do you think of this joke, Ripley? Did you see this tweet?
No.
Okay. If Santa's immortal, he would be graying, but he would appear young. Sort of like an Arctic fox. He's sort of an Arctic fox.
Yeah.
I got
there's something there for sure.
I got an unbelievable thumbs up. I keep listening to this show, post about this show, tell other Blink fans you know about this show because you're listening to it. And if you made it this far into this episode, you must like it. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
And we hope
you had
the time of the stars.
It's a cry from the past. We have been through a lot. Every year it's been great. And if you have been tough, then your kids need to reach for the stars at the bottom.